When KITV4 News at 5 continues, we example the herbal alternatives to hair loss.
A little dab will do ya on Mixed Plate. Up next.
Hair today, gone tomorrow. That's what many men and women face in their later years.
Not necessarily the case, as we see in tonight's Mixed Plate.
See those little white dots? That's where hair used to be. Henrietta Morimoto started seeing them 20 years ago when stress and alopecia claimed her mane. Cortisone shots restored some of her hair, but it was sparse and white. Within 2 weeks of herbal treatments, a little black patch appeared at her hairline, and at 4 months, it was a healthy streak at her crown.
People kept asking me, "What are you doing? You black streak in your hair?" And I said, "No, it's just growing back like that." And they couldn't believe it.
And it's still growing. Using a fiber optic scope, Benedict Palmieri can see Henrietta's scalp magnified 100 times.
There's more growing right there. See that black dot in the middle? That's a strong, healthy hair. There's no miracle drugs. The fact of homeopathy that comes through, anything that comes from the land is made to help the body.
So Benedict is using aloe, noni, lavender, avapuhi, and other herbals to calm and clear the scalp. The purpose is to get rid of this, sebum, natural oils, sweat, hairspray, and gel residue.
Once that is covered with sebum, it becomes like a resin. It's impossible for a hair to come out of the scalp if it's covered with a resin. By cleaning the scalp and getting the pores open again, right down into the follicle sheath, we can get the hair, if it will grow, to grow.
Manny Valbuena thought he was doomed to hereditary baldness.
The last 3 years, my hair was kind of getting thin. Looks like it's getting thicker and getting darker.
The hair that's growing in is black. It's not peach fuzz. You can also see the difference right dead center in the middle where the hair is lighter on the ends and getting darker.
It's a lot of work for me at night because I got to brush my hair, but it's all worth it.
Therein lies the secret, says Benedict. People just don't brush.
And it may not be too late to save your hair. Mixed Plate takes a look at one solution.
KITV4 News at 5 is next.
You asked for it. More on the herbal answer to hair loss. Mixed Plate is later on KITV4 News at 5.
Good. Thanks, Robert. When KITV4 News at 5 continues, we take another look at a mixed plate you wanted more of.
Now you see it. Now you see it. Now you don't. An answer to hair loss. Mixed Plate next.
We have received so many calls and emails following Pamela's mixed plate hair loss story a couple of months ago that, well, she's going to take another look.
On tonight's Mixed Plate, we see how modern technology and ancient lore can go to your head.
A familiar scenario, frontal hair loss with a mid-pate patch. But 36-year-old Louis is encouraged.
No pills, no magic lotions, no crystal balls, you know. Real hands-on, and it just makes clear sense.
Using a fiber optic scope that magnifies the scalp 100 times, Benedict Palmieri sees progress.
We had no hair where we're looking now, and this has been about 7 months now. We've got hair growing up in the middle.
What's the secret? Common sense and scalp hygiene, says Benedict, who uses island herbals to calm and clear the scalp.
Olelo, noni, mullein. This is called jabarandi. This is from India, this particular plant, and it's made into a tincture.
The treatment breaks down the sebum, the gunk that suffocates pores and hair follicles. Louis' scalp debris is so thick, he needs exfoliation.
The scalp, and sometimes after we do the scaling, this hair will appear, and it's been lying there dormant. But it takes time. It's been under there for 18 to 20 years.
Benedict makes no promises of hair growth, but says the treatments and a daily routine of vigorous brushing will stop you from losing any more hair. Good enough for Louis, who wishes to remain anonymous.
I wouldn't say overnight I'll have to use an Afro pick, but so far so good.
18-year-old Evan Yashiki doesn't have a hair loss problem yet, but Benedict says testosterone, sweat, hair gels, mousses, and waxes can kill fragile follicles.
You're basically looking at the buildup on the scalp and how it clogs the pores. That's extreme buildup. And if it gets any worse, it goes from dandruff into psoriasis into eczema.
Evan's hairline already shows the shiny scales and broken hair shafts common with psoriasis.
If you know you're 22 and 23 years old and you see that your hair's starting to get a fuzzy feeling to it, and you know your grandpa and your dad were bald, then you can actually stop the process from happening by cleaning out the pores.
It just kind of cleans it up, kind of like opens it up, so it lets my scalp breathe and feels like cleaner and makes my hair a little bit more healthier.
It's just like a garden. You have a clean garden, you're going to have healthy roses.
Tomorrow, the ladies stave off hair thinning. That's mixed plate.
It's a problem a lot of people have.
Yes. Well, I had a grandfather who was bald. Had I known what I know now, I probably would have been using that stuff all this time and wouldn't have needed it.
Well, I guess what he's saying, even though it's you've been bald for 18, 20 years, there is hope, but he's not making any promises. And herbals get under your skin to prevent hair loss. Mixed plate later on KITV for News at 5.
We've got a story on hair loss coming up.
You don't have to worry.
Oh, I'm going, look at that.
And this is what, you're doing all right. Female hair loss, a 21st century phenomenon.
But is it reversible? Mixed plate up next.
Any man with less than a full head of hair can tell you that baldness can be stressful, and in some cases, they're even embarrassed by it.
More so for women with the same condition, as we see on tonight's Mixed Plate.
Well, you kind of look in the mirror, you can see your scalp. You know, you see guys like that, not very many women. And for your self-esteem, it's kind of hard.
It's the new malaise of the working woman, says Benedict Palmieri, who's finding more women in his downtown shop.
Any woman in a high-maintenance position in the workplace that's under severe stress each day finds that they're losing hair, but they're really not losing hair. The hair is encapsulated underneath the scalp. It just can't get out from the sebum buildup.
Sebum is the dead skin, oils, perspiration, and residue left by hairspray, gels, and mousses. When it clogs the pores, hair can't grow.
Also, there's a muscle called the erector pili. When that tightens, it can actually sever the hair off from underneath the scalp.
Benedict's treatment includes a stress-reducing whiff of lavender and a neck rub as he cleans the scalp with an herbal mix of noni olelo and jabarandi.
They're leaves that are put into an isopropyl alcohol, and then they're put in an airtight container and left anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. After that, they're taken out, squeezed and pressed, and then the purity of the plant comes out.
After about, I think about 3 or 4 treatments, people started going, hey, you look a little different, you know, and they started noticing that my hair got shinier. It started to grow better, and, you know, it's not as thin.
A treatment is about $50, depending on the damage. Clients are urged to brush and shampoo often if they want to keep the hair there.